Hey everybody, it's Matt from Casually Crafted 3D again, and today we're finally going to be finishing up the Rising Force Stunticons. This has been a whole journey for a few years. I know that I'm releasing all these videos pretty like all at once, but these guys have been in the making for quite a while. I think that we got Dead End like almost 5 years ago, so finally we're going to be able to finish these up. Yeah, so we're going to combine these guys into Menasor. So first off, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get the 4 car bots basically into car mode, and then we're going to need Menasor in his robot mode, and then we're going to separate Blackjack up into his individual components, which I will do off camera now. All right, and there is everything that we need. So, first off, we need to decide what we're going to do for the configuration, because the cool thing about this set is that they are completely scramble city. So any of these guys can become a leg or an arm. So for the purpose of this video, what I'm going to do is do the standard configuration, and we're going to make Breakdown and Wild Rider the legs. All that we're going to have to do to get them prepared for that is just kind of angle the hood piece here on Breakdown in like that, and then on Wild Rider do the same thing like that. So they are good to go for legs. I will set them aside. I'll set all this aside too. Now for Dead End and Drag Strip, what we're going to need to do for Dead End is we're just going to kind of pull him apart like that on that joint. And then we're going to, I'll make him the left arm. So we're going to just kind of rotate that there so that the elbow is exposed. And then we're going to take the left hand here and just kind of open up all the hand parts here. And then we're actually going to need to turn these little peg parts here out so that we have holes rather than pegs. And then they're just going to go on these 2 little posts right here, like that. Very crappily, very loose. You're going to see throughout this whole video that this thing has problems, and that is the first of which is very, very loose there. But there is Dead End in arm mode. And then we'll do Drag Strip real quick. For him, we're going to need to pull down the hands here to move them out of the way. Separate these parts from here so that we can open this up. And then take this engine panel, move that up, and then close all that back up. And then we're just going to extend him at that elbow part, and then just kind of get everything out of the way. I'm going to rotate him this way because he is the right arm. And then we're going to take the right hand, again, opening everything up. And then we actually want the 2 pegs this time because they're going to peg in here. So just peg that together, again, very loosely. So there is Drag Strip as an arm. Okay, now Motormaster. This is where stuff gets kind of involved, and unfortunately there's like no instructions on how to do this, so it's kind of just looking at reference images, so we're just going to kind of work through this together. So we're going to start with his hands here. We're going to open up these panels, and I need my spudger, of course. Open up this very tight panel. Okay, there we go. And then we'll fold his hand up like he did in truck mode. Do that on both sides. All right. And then we're just going to take the elbow and then just move it up using that double joint. It can be pretty tight there. And then it'll peg in right here, like that. And then we'll do the same on the opposite side. And then We're actually not going to do that quite yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to take his entire waist section here and just pull down to extend to this part. We're going to open up his chest panel. Let me pan this up a little bit. Open up this chest panel, and then we're also going to open up, not up here, but back here, this entire panel here. And then we're going to take this entire section here and rotate here. And be careful with the head, because it can be kind of weird getting the clearance to push it over. But it'll just go right in here, and then just take this and close it back up. And then this head, we're just gonna kind of leave it here for now, but just push this up and peg it back in there. We'll come back to this in a minute. So for the legs here, basically what we need to do is just kind of collapse the legs back up. So we're going to open this back up. We're going to just kind of get everything out of the way here. We want to just kind of move this whole section, and we need to get the foot out of the way in order to do it, to get the clearance. But move this whole section down like this so it collapses into this cavity, and then just move the foot back up and just kind of collapse it back together like this. So now it's just sitting a little bit higher. We'll do that on the other side too, just to get the clearance. Push it up all the way, and then push that back, and then collapse it all back together if it allows me to. There we go. Okay, so this is the part that's kind of tricky here, because it's not the greatest, the most intuitive way to do it, but we just kind of need to flip these out. And I'm just kind of guessing off of images how to do this, but it seems like we need to move these kind of out of the way, and then this part on this joint comes down, and this part kind of comes down like this. And I've noticed that the only way to get clearance here is to move this tire out of the way, and then this whole thing will kind of come like this, and then sit like this, and then this part will just kind of wrap around right here, and then this all just kind of sits like this, and it just kind of hangs out. Just kind of there we go. It just kind of looks like this. From what images I've seen online, this is how you're supposed to do it, I think. But again, not all that much to work off of. So kind of try to do the same thing here. It can be, again, kind of messy. Rotate this around, flip this to the back so it sits over that. Put that down, bring this down like this, and just kind of leave that sit there. And then I'm assuming that that's what it's supposed to look like this, from what I can tell from reference images. But now, Motormaster is more or less ready to start putting parts on him. So what we're going to do, and this is where it kind of all starts to fall apart, unfortunately. The chest piece from Blackjack, we're just going to kind of sit here. And it kind of helps to put one arm in the panel here, or in that post here. Clip that together, and then just kind of take this, wedge it onto that hole here, or that peg here, and then just kind of close up the other side, simultaneously holding this into there, and then pegging it together here. And then it seems to go together a little bit easier than what it shows in the instructions. And then at this point, you just kind of slide the chest panels out. Now we're going to take the waist piece here and plug it into these two holes. And this thing likes to fall off a lot, so I'm just trying to push it in the best I can. These two panels here on the sides of the head just come down. Again, very, very tight, like that. And we're going to rotate the head around. And then, depending on what head that you chose for the combiner head, I chose the Toy Deco version. You're going to just kind of rotate the antenna up for the head. If you chose the Toon Deco head, it's just going to have these little antenna that flip out like this. to have that. Obviously, I'm not going to swap these out because it's a whole thing to do so. So I'm just going to keep the toy deco head on. Now we are going to use these parts, which came with Motormaster, to get these combiner ports out because they're kind of a bear to get out. So what these are supposed to do is you put them in here and then just kind of squeeze, but they don't work. Like, they don't work at all. I don't even know why these were included. So I just wanted to show, like, that's what those were for in the other video, but a spudger does it way better because these are, like, pretty tight to get out, which is good. Combiner shoulders should be tight, but like a pull tab would have been nice. There we go. There we go. Okay, now for the back here, we just need to take the remaining piece from Blackjack and put it right here onto his butt, right like that. So there is the main section, more or less. Oh, and the feet parts here. I don't think that it matters what side you put them on. I think they're basically the exact same in every way. So I'll just go ahead and put this one on the left side and then this one on the right side. And then pretty much that is the bulk of the combiner right there. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So now it's just a matter of putting everybody where they're supposed to go. We'll do Wild Rider first. Basically, he's just going to fit this square hole, or this rectangular hole here goes onto this post. These two holes here go onto these two posts. And I'll see if I can do this without him absolutely exploding. There we go. That one seems to have gone on okay. Same thing with him. They connect the exact same way. Like so. Okay, that actually worked pretty good that time. Okay. Alright. So now the arms. The arms will connect exactly how they seem like they should on these little rectangular pegs. So just put those on. And these ones fit together pretty good. Though I've noticed that dead end seems to be really tight going on. And there we go. I think we're good. As you can tell with how careful I'm being, I've done this off camera and this thing just falls apart and explodes every time I try to do anything with it. So I'm really surprised that it behaved on camera. But there we go. I will raise the camera a little bit so you can get a better look at him. But there is the whole combiner. There he is. Right off the bat, you can't play with this thing. He falls apart at every turn. I'm surprised that he's even standing right now because normally he falls. He just completely falls over or collapses at the mere glance or gust of wind. But we're gonna just, you know what? Forget it. We're just gonna kind of just deal with it and take a look at him so you can see what I'm talking about. So taking a look at him immediately, I mean, from far away, I think he looks decent. You see, you won't stand. He looks decent from far away, I think. But when you get closer, he just, I don't know, man. I don't know if this one was worth the wait. First, all of the Carbots' heads are showing. Like, there's drag strips. There's dead ends. If you come around this way, I mean, you can very clearly see breakdowns and Wild Rider's heads. And that too. Look at this. That is unacceptable. What the heck? And I know that I transformed this right because that joint has no way to lock in. It's just floppy. It's just a floppy mess. And the ankles are terrible too. The ankles just cannot handle this weight. Yeah, not good. But you know, coming around to the side, I mean, he looks wonky as hell back there. He's definitely wearing car pants. But you know, that's just kind of Menasor. But I mean, from the back, he just doesn't look good. The arms, they're okay. Very thin upper arms as far as proportions, and it doesn't look any better if you rotate the arm the other way. I don't think it just doesn't look very good to me, to be honest. Okay, so we're gonna, well, first off, I'll show you, good lord, everything, his hand's falling off. He can hold these parts just fine, and also the sword here does extend. It has a little slider here that does extend for the combined mode, and the hands have this little groove in them where you can put the sword and put the gun in the other hand, and then just kind of close his fingers around it, and he can hold those just fine. But I'm going to remove them because I'm going to attempt to do articulation on him. Okay, so let's pan up. So for the head is on a ball joint. So, you know, side to side, forward, back a little bit, rotate 360 degrees. That's fine. For the arms, for the shoulders here, they can move out about that far, pretty good. They can rotate 360 degrees. That's good. The upper arm here, rotate 360 degrees. We have an elbow here, which gets you about 90 degrees. And it can rotate again here below the elbow. The wrist, and just so you see what I'm talking about, like, that's it. That's it. Like barely attaches at all, which is a bit of a shame. But the wrist here has a little joint here where it can rotate on, and then it has another joint here at the actual hand panel, so that can move. It has a ball joint here at the thumb, and then a little swivel there at that joint there, so you can get whatever movement you need from that. The fingers are very loose. Not so much on this hand. They're definitely really loose on the other hand. But individual finger is a ball joint, and then we have a little joint here at this little knuckle here, and you can kind of see there, like it's all loose, unfortunately. So there's that. For the waist, you do have a 360 degree stuff falling off. 360 degree rotation at their waist. He's got the exact same hips as Motor Master, so you know, go back real far. Forwards is a problem though. The hips, you got to kind of hold onto the plate or it's going to fall off, but you can move the hip plate and he can get about that far forwards. I'm surprised he hasn't exploded yet. You can get pretty far out, but it looks terrible. The knees are by far the worst part of this figure, 100%. That's a joint, I guess, if you want to call it a joint. The knee can bend here and get you 90 degrees, but like it all just starts to come apart trying to move it back. Here at the ankle, it's got a big old weak ball joint, so you have, you know, it does what ball joints do, you know, every kind of motion that you could want. The ankles can tilt in only slightly, surprisingly, so you're not going to be getting any dynamic poses with this guy. It just kind of is what it is. But yeah, that's articulation. Ugh. Just finagly. See, I'm having to hold him up because he just won't stand. Ugh. Let's do some comparisons. Okay, did my best to clean him up. But here we have a couple of comparisons. Here he is next to Magic Square's Jazz. Here he is with New Age Scrapper and Magic Square Megatron. All right. Okay, and I've panned way out here because I have a bunch of other combiners to compare him to. So here we're going to start with, how about Zeta's Mini Superion, another one of the Scramble City combiners. So he's definitely short. He's definitely a little too small to go with him, unfortunately. Okay, here is his fellow Decepticon Scramble City combiner. Here we have Magic Square's Bruticus. Definitely too small. Here we have Magic Square's Devastator. Just way bigger than him. Here we have, just because, here's a New Age Omega Supreme. And why not? I know it's a totally different aesthetic, but here he is with King Toys Predaking. And of course, the one that everybody wants to see. Here he is next to Magic Square Menasor. Oh man, it's not even a competition. It's honestly kind of sad. All right, so final thoughts on Rising Forces Menasor, and he's that's staying in the video. Oh man, I'm not even gonna try to fix this thing. Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna. That's the end of the video. Well, final thoughts on this guy. I mean, I didn't even try to pose him. I've been trying to pose him for probably the past 15 minutes to get him on that turntable, and he kept falling over. So he's staying on the ground for the remainder of this video. Dude, this is such a letdown. This thing is this thing's crap. I mean, frankly speaking, this thing's crap. Individually, the robots are okay. I can't believe that we waited so long for a product like this. There's going to need to be a lot of upgrade kits to fix this mess. I am most likely going to be selling mine. I have no place for this in my collection. I feel like most people are going to be buying combiners because they want to have it combined. And even individually, I think the robots look okay at best. But it's not even fun to mess with. It took me like a ridiculous amount of time just to even get this thing together into a somewhat presentable form for the video, and it's just been a not fun experience at all. Yeah, I don't often tell people don't buy something, but do not buy this. If you want a combiner, if you want a cheap combiner, do not buy this. It's not even that cheap, simply because of the cost of the Blackjack and Motormaster dual thing. They themselves cost more than all four of the limb parts, the robot or the cars. So altogether, this set is like $200. This is a $200 set right here. Can you believe that? If you want a good Menasor, like, don't buy him. I'm telling you, buy this. Buy Magic Squares. They have their issues too. This is actually the set that is like all the harder plastic. It's not the nylon, or it has some nylon on it, but it's not that much. This set, I think Magic Square were selling the whole thing for like 220, so slightly more than him. But you just get so much better of a deal, man. It's just such a better figure. This actually has me tempted to buy another one just so I can have individual robots on my collection, just because this is just unacceptable. And honestly, even if the price point, like if you were looking for this cheaper, like yes, technically this is altogether going to be cheaper than Magic Square, but guess what? What is it? MHZ Toys did a knockoff of Magic Squares that's slightly larger, called the Tiger Wing. I think it's called the Tiger Wing Combiner. 80 bucks. 80 bucks for that. And it is vastly superior to this. Even as a knockoff, it's vastly superior. So, I really don't have anything positive to say about this thing, unfortunately. Price point, okay. I actually feel like it goes against it because it's just this is not a $200 figure to me. It's kind of insane. Its tolerances are terrible. Its proportions are awful. Its posability is like okay-ish, but the tolerances for the floppiness just gets in the way. I mean, honestly, I haven't been this disappointed about a set that we've been waiting on since probably MPG Raiden. It's pretty bad. But obviously, if you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if your set was any different from mine. I know that I've watched a couple of other reviewers before I even put this together, so I was already going into this with a bad mental state about how this is going to be, because obviously we had waited for years for this. I ended up getting Catfish when he had first come out. So I've been waiting to put this set together for quite a long time. So this is really disappointing to me. If you want to give me a follow, check out my link tree in the description. Any future posts about any models that I'm working on or any reviews I might put out, I'll probably put them up there. But yeah, thank you for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.